News, and I'm Terri Wisdom. And as many of you know, Harlem Network News started at the onset of COVID. We are still here. We consider ourselves an essential service, really making sure that the community is informed, engaged, and called to action. And as you can see, it has become more critical than ever. As I get started, I want to just give a salute to our Congressman Charles B. Rangel, the Lion of Lenox Avenue. I spent every day this week uh, attending the funeral services and seeing our community come together, and being at a St. Aloysius, which is a gem of Harlem, where he was an altar boy, being at a city hall where he lie in state, so powerful, so empowering, and being at a St. Patrick's Cathedral,
Mhm.
which is a pillar of New York City, a place where I believe Jacqueline Kennedy's funeral was, but this is our person.
Yeah.
And we were there. The streets were closed on Fifth Avenue. So that really just shows who we are and whose we are and the power. And as our great council member, assembly member Inez Dickens, and a mentor of Congressman Rangel, she said one thing that he always said: when you go in that room, even if you're not welcome or you're not invited, you go in and you own that room. And I think that that is a message. That is what we've got to do. So it is so befitting um, that we are here to talk about Juneteenth. And without further ado, I want to introduce our brother Abdul Rasul, and this is a tradition. This has become a tradition that we have you on right before the Juneteenth parade and festivities right here in the village of Harlem. So introduce yourself, let us know who you are, whose you are, and a bit of background about Juneteenth and the fact and for how long we've been doing this right here in Harlem. And now, Juneteenth is a school holiday. So it's a powerful, powerful thing. We keep going. Thank you. Thank you. Thank
Terry, I just want to say, we love you. One thing about you, you mentioned how you started early on around COVID time. But one thing about you is that you've been consistent. You have been consistent every year, giving us this platform, and our very many medias have been doing that. We've been doing this for 32 years. Our 32nd year will be tomorrow, and we will be doing the Juneteenth celebration in the village of Harlem. So I just wanted to salute. I salute you and the Harlem Network News for the good work that you have been doing. It might appear to be a short period, but in our eyes, it has been a welcoming and lasting and valuable service to us and to the Harlem community. My name is Abdul Rasul, and I am the Juneteenth coordinator of Mested Malcolm Shabazz. As you mentioned earlier, we are the oldest New York City Juneteenth organization in the city of New York. There is a Juneteenth organization in Buffalo that's just a little bit older than us, so we can't take credit for
you.
being
Okay.
the oldest one in New York State, but we
Mhm.
can take credit for being the oldest one in New York City. Our Juneteenth efforts started out uh, through humble efforts. Imam W.D. Muhammad, who was a son of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, he introduced his community to Juneteenth uh, almost 32 years ago. He spoke at Norfolk, Virginia, one of these slave docks, and he spoke about the importance of the members of his association getting involved in Juneteenth. And if you don't have a Juneteenth in your area, he encouraged us to start one. And so that gave birth to us starting one in the New York City area. There used to be a what is called King Fest. The Dr. Martin Luther King New York Support Group had already started a program around Juneteenth called King Fest. So rather than compete with them and do a separate program, we joined with them. in Marcus Garvey Park almost 32 years ago, and we became the Juneteenth King Fest group. Both groups came together. We did a parade, and then we would come back to Marcus Garvey Park. However, this was prior to the renovations of Marcus Garvey Park. And so as a result of the renovations, we shifted the venue to 116th Street and Malcolm X Boulevard, between Malcolm X Boulevard and Fifth Avenue. So we would still do our central parade through Harlem, but we would have a full day of activities, festivities, and 116th Street between Malcolm X Boulevard and Fifth Avenue. So we still continue with that tradition. However, we don't have the Martin Luther King Fest group with us. Unfortunately, they disbanded, but we continue to keep up the Juneteenth efforts. As you know, Juneteenth represents Freedom Day. Juneteenth is the oldest known celebration of the ending of slavery, dating back to 1865. We know about June 19th, and that's why June 19th has become a federal, state, and city holiday here in the city of New York.
Yeah, which is
on June 19th marks the day that the Union soldiers, Major General Gordon Granger, he landed in Galveston, Texas. Now we know in Galveston, Texas, unfortunately, the word didn't get out that the slaves were supposed to have been emancipated. So they had been literally working as slaves 2.5 years after the signing of the Emancipation Proclamation. It was only through Union soldiers coming to that area that they got the word that they were free. So once they realized that they were free, they immediately began to celebrate. So this marks what we call the Freedom Day. We use that as a marking point across the United States to usher in Juneteenth celebrations throughout the country. Now, you mentioned something about COVID, and I want to go back to that because
thank you.
COVID give a good birth for your network, but we see you still standing strong, but it also gave birth to the national holiday. Because if it had not been for George Floyd, the Black Lives Matter, and the freedom movement around the world of voices crying out as a result of witnessing what took place with George Floyd, and also the sensitivities of the COVID epidemic, those sensitivities moved the hearts of the world, and particularly our president and other members of the United States, to finally decide upon having Juneteenth as a national holiday. We didn't anticipate almost 32 years ago that would happen in our lifetime, even though that was one of our goals. But we're thankful to the Creator. It's just going to show you how we're not always in charge of things. So we're thankful for the Creator.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we're thankful for the Creator to bring up this opportunity for us to really have a Freedom Day here in America and to take full advantage of that day in terms of looking at what our past contributions have been and also guiding us in terms of where we need to go out in the future. So Juneteenth is being celebrated tomorrow. We always have it the Saturday before Father's Day.
Okay.
And so we're going to be having our Juneteenth celebration for 32 years in the village of Harlem. We're starting out at 11 o'clock with a parade that we always do. We already have 16 floats that's going to be in the parade. We have marching bands. We have parade participants. We're glad to see that the Harlem community is coming alive to Juneteenth. So again, 11 a.m. we will be starting the parade. We know we're the only Juneteenth parade, really the only parade of the African diaspora that goes across 125th Street.
Okay,
So
yes.
all of the historical sites and all the historical struggles and the symbol that 125th Street, the symbol that it gives to the world, we are going to be walking in the footsteps of those freedom fighters, those hardworking people of color in the past that have laid the pathway for freedom movements around the world. I mean, let's look at the history. We know that even Juneteenth is celebrated in Ghana, in Africa, in other parts of the world, but the Ghanaians celebrate Juneteenth because it's our freedom movement in the 60s that gave impetus to a lot of the freedom movements in Africa and also in the Caribbean diaspora. So many of the countries that became liberated as a result of following our lead in terms of our freedom movement and our freedom of direction here in America. So we take pride in that. We take pride in embracing the whole world during the Juneteenth program. But mind you, not only are we going to be having a parade, but we also going to be having full day of festivities on 116th Street and Malcolm X Boulevard at Fifth Avenue. We have 3 stages. We have a main stage, which is on 116th Street and Malcolm X Boulevard. In the middle of the block near the Harlem Market, we have the jazz stage, keep the jazz tradition alive. And then towards the Fifth Avenue side of the 116th Street, we have the Rough Rider stage, which is our young people. They'll be down on that end, engaging in storybook reading. We have authors that will be attending, that will be reading books that they wrote for children of the African American diaspora. We'll be giving gifts out to the children. We have bouncy houses, double dutch, basketball, a lot of festivity activities for the children, face painting. And as we move up, we have the health screening. You know, health is very important to us as a people. We need to be more conscious of our health.
Very critical.
So every opportunity we get, we bring in health vans, you know, that do some screening. They will be there. We have about maybe 8 different hospitals that will be available, booth spacing with us. And then as we go further up the block, we have our vendors. Not only do we have people selling our wares, you know, our beautiful earrings and necklaces and cloth, kente cloth, and stuff that you wear, but we also have our culture. We have people who will be selling food that's of our diaspora. So you get an opportunity to spend a whole day with us. We also have quite a few community organizations that will be tabling. They will be giving out information in regards to services that are available that our people can get involved in. And then we'll have a huge tent. So even if it rain or shine, we will have the Juneteenth celebration. This won't be the first time that we had a little showers. Right?
Okay.
There's a couple of events where it just poured down on us, but that didn't stop us. And
right.
We even had a Juneteenth celebration during COVID, you know, when everything was closed down. We couldn't have the street festival all day long, but what we did do is that we paraded to the Adam Clayton Powell State Office building on 125th Street, and we had a program right there at the State Office building outside. So that's just going to show you that, you know, our people during slavery, rain, snow, sleet, hail, thunder, lightning, they had to work in those fields. They were forced to work. So a little bit of rain can come on us. We can endure that compared to what our people endured for so many centuries here in America, working for nothing, you know, for the slave masters and working from sun.
All I can say is that I am completely inspired. All of the tenets of us as a people, Juneteenth is really a culmination of all of that.
Absolutely.
And you speaking about the resilience, you speaking about the consistency. Thank you for seeing the consistency of a Harlem Network News.
Absolutely.
And trust me, I see the consistency of a Juneteenth.
Yeah.
The fact that you have kept it going against all odds for 32 years.
Yes,
very powerful, very empowering, and against all obstacles and against all odds. And I cannot quote it exactly, but I know that our Marcus Messiah Garvey did state that when we have these obstacles, this is what pushes us out even further.
Absolutely.
So the challenges make us stronger.
Absolutely.
And certainly in such a time as this, we have challenges.
That's right.
And that is why, as a media organization, institution, we will continue to fight. We need support. We need funding.
Absolutely.
We need the engagement of the people. But our mission is to assure that folks are informed, and then they are engaged, and they are called to action. And as you said, a COVID, you know, a George Floyd, all the killings, Breonna Taylor's, all the killings that we experience, that brought all eyes to something that we really already knew. And in this world where there's social media and everything coming at us, we actually have more access. It just has to be tooled properly. Yes. Without where we are now, it would be very difficult for Harlem Network News to do what we do. But I would say during COVID, everybody got their PhD in social media because we had to. So that was a great thing. And as you said, that did make us come out because my partner, brother Bernardo Ruby, had been encouraging me. My background is in media. I've worked at all the networks. I know
Mm,
what it is. We are
mm,
Harlem entrepreneurs, working hard at it and having to figure it out how to keep
yeah.
going regardless. But in COVID, once we saw what was happening and Black folks were walking around Harlem thinking I'm Black, I can't get it. And
Mm,
there are certain diseases that are only skewed to more to certain communities, like a sickle cell. But
mm,
once we saw the body bags hit Harlem Hospital, and it was just like, okay, you got to jump in the deep water. You don't have no time to plan and where's this and how we gonna do that. We just had to jump in and
mhm,
swim.
yeah,
And that's who we are. We're resilient, and it has been very, very, very critical
mhm.
in terms of making a difference.
Yeah.
And that's what.
There's an expression that says that within the difficulty comes the ease. And we have experienced that not only that you mentioned from COVID, but also in terms of slavery. Within that difficulty, eventually the ease is coming. And I just wanted to say, again, talking about Marcus Garvey, because you brought that point up, don't forget our early beginnings started in Marcus Garvey Park. That wasn't by accident. One of the things that Marcus Garvey hallmarked it, which is symbolic of what you and I are doing, is Marcus Garvey talked about self-help efforts, pulling our resources together as a people and
Mhm.
uh, and starting to invest in each other and not becoming dependent upon other people. Honorable Elijah Muhammad picked up that same message. And as you can see, it's the same thing with our Juneteenth committee. We don't get federal, state, or city funding, at all. It's not that we don't, it's not that we wouldn't accept any of it, but we just
Yes,
don't, they just don't support us.
right,
Like
absolutely.
you, they just don't support us, but that don't silence us because what we do is that we pull together the moms and the pops, the local businesses, the community organizations. They're the ones that's the backbone of our support for Juneteenth. And it's through that effort that no matter who's in the White House, no matter who's in government, no matter who's running the show in terms of politics, that don't stop us from doing what we have to do as a people. Because regardless of who in the White House, who's running the show, we still got to be responsible, for ourselves and for our people. And we need to get back to that. And I think that this is the climate, with this governance where we're going to have to be
Mhm.
forced to get back to pulling our resources together or pulling ourselves up our own bootstraps, so to speak. So in a way, that's a positive note in what appeared to be a bad situation. But I'm hoping that we can be resilient, like you mentioned earlier, and we can use this opportunity not to turn away, but to tighten up our efforts and coordinate and start looking towards one another for help and support. If we can't do it now, we're not going to ever be able to do it in this climate.
Yeah, very, very, very critical. And that's the whole thing with COVID, or even with a Donald Trump, with all the things that have gone on. COVID pulled the scab off the wound. It was
Beautiful.
stuff that we already knew. We already
Yeah,
knew the disparities. We
yeah,
already knew what our healthcare situation was. We
mhm,
already knew we were the people with the comorbidities. But COVID showed that to the world.
yeah,
We already knew what the killing of Black and brown people, men and women, is. We already knew that. But a
mhm,
George Floyd magnified that to the world. A Breonna Taylor magnified what we already know.
absolutely.
So the bad out of the bad is not what happens to you, but it's how you deal with it.
Beautiful.
It is critical. So
Absolutely.
I salute you for continuing. I salute us all for continuing. We
Hmm.
have to support, and we have to hold our public officials accountable.
Yeah,
We
yes,
have to.
absolutely.
This is a place, New York City. There is no lack here. Okay, but there is lack here for us. And
Beautiful.
the disparities of economics in our community, our comptroller, and I heard this at National Action Network, and I was thinking, okay, I don't want to misspeak, but it's like the mean income, and I keep hammering this because I want people to know the mean income for Blacks in New York State is $19,000. The mean income for whites in New York State,
Hmm.
$270,000.
Mm.
That's an extreme
Wow.
disparity. You can go, you can look at the paperwork, you can look at the reports. So that in itself, if we don't understand what is going on for real, that's why there's crime. That is why there is mental health problems. That is why there are people on drugs.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that is why a lot of that is why.
Mm-hmm.
So we need to understand what is happening. Even in this mayoral race, it's my understanding that, there's debate coming, this evening. But in order to participate in these debates, the last one, you needed a considerable amount of money. Each candidate did. I think
Mm-hmm.
for this evening, and I don't want to get the number wrong, but it's something like $2.4 million. You got to have that. So it becomes a pay to play if you
Mm-hmm.
don't have the money and if you don't have the funding. So that's what we've got to dispel. Even in terms of media, we've got, we're not getting our messaging out.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very, very, very critical.
Excellent.
So continue. The struggle
I
continues.
just wanted to share with you some of the grand marches. As you know,
Oh, yes,
the
please.
marches for
Thank
the
you.
parade, unlike many other parades, are local heroes and sheroes that normally do this work and don't get recognition for what they do.
Mm.
They on the ground every day serving the community. And so we always take the opportunity during our Juneteenth celebration to honor and respect them. Um, I don't know if you remember Michael in Good Times, the young
Of
man with,
course.
yeah,
Of course.
your listening audience, I'm taking away back a little bit, but his name is
Listen,
Ralph.
Good Times is still on rerun. And
Absolutely,
and the interesting thing, when we look
absolutely,
back at a Good Times,
yes,
it had so much messaging. You know
absolutely,
what I'm saying? You can look at that. You can look at,
absolutely,
there's messaging in Good Times, serious
absolutely.
messaging. Yes.
And I'm glad you mentioned that because those who are not familiar with it, you need to really go back to those reruns. And those who are familiar with it need to go back to those reruns. But we have Ralph Carter, used to be my
All right.
which was the youngest family member. And if you
Mm,
notice anything about his character in Good Times, he was always the one that was always acting on. He represented the future. He represented the generation that wasn't going to let other people control his mind. He always questioned everything at such a young age.
mm,
And he
mm.
always was the voice of reason, the voice of rationalization in the family, and he was a voice of the freedom movement, still being alive. So Ralph Carter is one of our grand marshals.
I love it.
I
I love
just
it.
forget,
He's been consistent in the community. He's been
absolutely, and
consistent.
so he's going to be here to share his experiences with us during the Juneteenth celebration. And then there's another lady named Peggy Shepard. A lot of people might not know her.
Okay.
Yeah, she's an environmentalist. She's the one with We Act,
Yes.
environmental justice, and her organization gave lead to many of the environmental organizations across the country in terms of environmental justice. And her organization is right out of our community, and we want to make sure that we honor her and her good works, her
Thank you for that
working and her
support.
good works. There's another lady who I'm pretty sure you're familiar with too. We talk about the African American Press, and that's the managing editor of the Amsterdam News.
Okay.
And by the way, I just got to looking at the Amsterdam News, and they got a little article in there on the Juneteenth celebration. So I'm encouraging your listening audience, if they can, to make sure we support the Amsterdam News. It's a very good article. And over the years, as quiet as it's kept, this managing editor, Christine Melroy, she's always, in a quiet way, she's always made sure that we had a little blog in the Amsterdam News over the years, so that people was reminded of Juneteenth. So they have been consistently over the years, like yourself, have been one of the few press of the African diaspora that have been following us and supporting us. So finally, we felt that it was only our obligation now to let her know that we're
Clap it up.
here. Absolutely. So we have
Okay.
her as another one of the grand marshals. Now,
Mm.
Lehman Lake McGee, a lot of people know him. He's also very active in the 28th Precinct Community Council.
Mhm.
He's also active in the church that's right down the block from us, Canaan Baptist Church. Matter of fact,
Okay.
he's the late pastor of the Dr. Y.T. Walker. He's part of
Mm,
the Y.T. Walker group, and he's the movement of Y.T. Walker was always very active in the civil rights movement. So Jake McGee is kind of quiet, but he has taken on the bearer, I should say, the torch bearer, I should say, but Canaan
mm,
Baptist Church. And he's one of our honorees. He also worked with the young people, the explorers at the 28th precinct, so he's going to bring them out. Now, here's
okay.
another interesting person, if I can just mention it very briefly. Brother Charles Asokile Mitchell, and he's one of the ones for the Malcolm X Commemorative Committee. You know, they've been having Malcolm X memorials ever since Malcolm passed away,
Yes.
consistently with his family members and etc. And our brother Mitchell have been in the forefront of keeping Malcolm's Pan-African and nationalist movement alive. So we honored to be able to have him as a marshal. In addition to a couple of other marshals, we have an educator, Janae Dean. She's been
Okay.
teaching, I believe it's 30 years. She's been teaching 40 years. Pardon
Mm,
me, excuse me.
okay.
I won't
Yes.
mess up her resume. And she's a pre-K teacher for 40 years
Wow.
in our community. So that deserves to be honored. And last but not least, getting down to the end, there's a
Could you
man,
repeat? I'm sorry, repeat her name.
her
Um,
name is Janine Dean.
okay, thank you.
Janine Dean, yeah.
Thank
She's,
you. We have to honor our educators.
absolutely, 40 years. You know, she just retired. And
Mm,
now you won't believe it, but this brother name is Alvin Lee Smalls, born in Georgetown, South Carolina, and he's a baker. He has a bakery. You
okay.
know, oftentimes we don't give the business people, small business people, I
Mhm.
think we struggling. Imagine how much struggling they had to go through in order to keep a business going in this day and
Yeah,
time.
very, very difficult.
It's called Lily Baked Goods. And it's
Okay,
bakery
yes,
since
yes,
1988.
right.
For 27 years, have dedicated service. He dedicated his service to the Harlem Hospital, Lee Baked Goods, and he's 37 years as a master baker and businessman in New York City. And
I
so
think
our
I
brother is, his health is not the best of health, but we want to make sure we give him his flowers while he's still here.
is very, very, very,
Important. So he's here,
very.
and just again, community folks, hard, working community folks. We got a Dr. Leroy Gatson, and I mean his resume, we can write a book on him. He's been involved in the NAACP. He has a doctorate degree. I mean, he's so humble though, He's a member of the Mount Olive Baptist Church, vice president of Pastors Aid Ministry, Sunday school teacher, rights of pastors mentor, etc., etc., etc. So Dr. Gatson, he's be one of our honorees. And last but not least, a lot of people might not know this gentleman, but his name, they call him Rodney C. Rodney Stone. He is known as Rodney C. He currently performs for NC Rodney C. He's born in Harlem, and he is a true pioneer in the hip hop and rap industry. Many of the rap folks know him in the early days. He began writing rhythm and blues in rhythming, pardon me, in 1975. So he's a mentor to a lot of the young people that are around, a positive mentor that's in the rap industry, and we want to make sure that we honor the positiveness of what our young people are doing and continue to do. And he sold over 60,000 copies within 2 weeks of his fourth rap album released. So, again, self-help, he worked them, he showed them the process in which you can bring recognition to yourself in a positive way for young folks and establish a business without being dependent on management and other folks that are just using you and abusing you. It's just another form of modern slavery. So
Yes, absolutely. And I think as we go back to it and we're looking at our history, and that's very important why knowledge is so empowering.
absolutely,
Because coming out of slavery, we really were in government, we were doing a bunch of things. Black Wall Streets were everywhere, from
absolutely,
Rosewood to, you know, uh, Tulsa. So, and these things were destroyed. So
absolutely,
we know that we've had the capacity. When we had our own, we were buying from one another. When
Yes,
we had our own in the schools, the
beautiful.
children were learning. But
Absolutely.
now we have a separate but not equal education. And I'm going to keep saying that in Central Harlem, 99.99% of the children in our schools, our public schools and our charter schools, are Black and brown children.
Absolutely.
And the education is substandard. We've got to
Absolutely.
say it, we've got to fix it, we've got
Absolutely.
to engage it with everything that's going on with the migrants or immigrants, asylum seekers. Those are being flooded into our Harlem schools,
Absolutely.
where it's already stressed and strapped. There's not real language support for those that are coming in. So we have a lot of issues that we have to deal with, but we have to understand who we are and whose we are. And
Yeah.
we really have to just continue to stand up for
Absolutely.
ourselves. I understand that there is, because I just got this, I want to make sure everybody is involved, and you can probably speak to this a little better than I. I understand that at 9 a.m., and I believe it's at the state office building, our state senator Cordell Clear, they're going to be out there for the annual Juneteenth flag raising ceremony.
Yeah, we always join her. As a matter of fact, I'm glad you mentioned
Okay,
Kate
thank you.
Cordell Clear, because she has been with us from the very beginning. She's been with us before she was a senator. She's been
Mhm.
with us when she was a district leader. We call her the home girl from the block. You
Okay,
know,
I got
Jenny ain't the home girl from our block.
you. Mhm.
Cordell Clear is the home girl from the Harlem block.
Okay, yeah.
And yeah, she does a fun flag raiser on the 19th, on actually Juneteenth Day. She does
Mhm.
a flag raiser, which we always attend at 9 o'clock in front of the
Mhm.
state office building.
Right.
This is the
Okay.
fourth year, I believe, doing it. And
Okay.
yes, we need to shout that out because
Right. Yes, and I think she's trying to get some initiatives in the legislature to support this Juneteenth flag.
absolutely, and also she has a bill in for reparations.
Yes.
So this is
Yes.
always her opportunity to give us an update on how far that bill is going in
Mhm.
terms of New York State paying reparations as a result of our in-kind, well, not in-kind, forced labor
Mhm.
that we can help contribute to building America. Donald Trump talked about how, how America is great. Well, we made America great.
Thank you.
It's our efforts through slavery that made America great, not his
Mhm.
efforts. So we need to be reminded that we're the ones that built the institutions, all of the banks that you see, the vast majority of them that have had any longevity got that as a result of making money
Yes,
off
and
of them.
when you say banks, this is Harlem Network News, and I'm Terry Wisdom. But when you say banks, I just saw like something where J.P. Morgan Chase Bank, and they have admitted this, that they were engaged in
Absolutely.
the slave trade in a sense that
Absolutely.
people were able to use slaves as collateral.
Absolutely.
Just like you use your house as collateral, you use the slaves as
Absolutely.
collateral at JP Morgan
Absolutely.
Bank. And other
Absolutely.
banks aren't hands off and they're not
Absolutely.
admitting that.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
that's what we're dealing with.
And even the high prestigious universities are beginning to just admit that the bulk of their early earnings is a result of slave labor.
Yeah.
They built the universities, they built the institutions, and those doors opened up, and they accumulated a lot of wealth. Still have a lot of wealth. I'm talking about the big name schools
Yeah,
that
absolutely.
that are attracted by the world. The world comes to these schools. So the reality is that it's like an onion. There's a lot of layers, that are being uncovered to show the importance and role that we played in terms of building wealth here in America. I just wanted to just say something else that ties into the point that you made about self-help and the importance of us really looking at this self-help effort in times right now where everybody's talking about cutting and taking away.
Mm.
During the breakfast, we do have a breakfast. We're not inviting everybody to the breakfast, so we can accommodate all your
Okay.
listening audience.
Right.
But just
I hear you.
as a little hidden secret, we do have a breakfast that we do every morning for the grand marshals and their families. We have an
Beautiful.
opportunity for them to come together because it's a long day for them to network amongst
Yes.
each other's family, get their
Yes.
stashes, get their instructions. And
Mhm.
during the Juneteenth breakfast, which is only going to be for 1 hour because then we go upstairs and get ready for the parade. We
Okay.
have a presentation this year by the Seneca Village. we talked about, the Black Wall Streets. Well, we had a model of a community early here in the 1800s and right in New York City, right where Central Park is at.
Absolutely.
There was a place called Seneca Village where people of African descent owned homes. You couldn't even vote during that time period unless you was a homeowner. They owned
Mhm.
homes. They had a village. They had the gentleman that first brought the home was a shoe shine man. I mean, he earned his money, enough money as a shoe shine business to buy the first home. And so the point is that there was a self-help, self-sustaining village here in New York City, not that far away from Central Harlem. And by eminent domain, they took the villages, took their homes, and built Central Park. And so we have a presentation tomorrow morning by the Seneca Village Central Park Conservancy in
Beautiful.
reference to what that used to be prior to it being Central Park. And they're looking at ways to memorialize and remember and build off of those efforts that those early African African Americans built at that time period. So I think we can learn from that model. That gives us some direction as to how we can build institutions in our community, like you just said, that we own and control, that support, our efforts. Everybody else does it, so why can't we go
Yeah,
back to that model?
we have to be encouraged, and we also have to really keep the faith.
Absolutely,
As our great Adam Clayton Powell Jr. said, we have
absolutely,
to keep the faith, and we've got to keep
absolutely,
pressing. We learned about Congressman Rangel and how he pressed on and created different things. So we've
absolutely.
got to do that, and we've got to hold government accountable. And we're going to wrap up now, but we know that as the parade is happening, it's also the first day of early voting in New York City, the 14th. I believe it goes through the 22nd. And then we have our actual primary date on the 24th. So, people, you have to come out. You have to vote. You have to hold the candidates accountable. Very, very, very critical. This is a critical mayoral race happening here in New York City. And you got to get the information. A Harlem Network News, you got to get the information. We are uh, interviewing as many of the candidates that will come to us. We have participated in a mayoral forum in conjunction with Women with Black Women and D4. That happened right at the AME Zion Church. It wasn't so well attended, but it was intimate so that we
Mm,
got the information from the candidates. It happened with the D9 a couple of weeks ago. So all kinds of things going on. There was
mm,
something at the Schomburg for the reparations. And
mm,
for those who don't know, we want to salute Save Harlem Now and the work that they're doing,
mm.
as well as there is an African burial ground up here, right here in
Absolutely,
Harlem.
absolutely,
And the bus depot over there on the east side and Second
mm,
Avenue was built over it. So there's
absolutely.
a lot we've got to uncover, but knowledge is power. Media is the message. So I'm just claiming that
Mm,
we are going to keep marching, keep informing, and Harlem Network News is going to grow and grow and grow. And it's about informing and empowering the people. That's
beautiful.
what we're going to do. And we thank you, Brother Ade, for just coming on, with the busy schedule you have. And if you could just repeat the time, the place that the parade starts, the route, so that folks can get out there, and then what'll be happening on 116 and the time frame. So we
Absolutely.
thank you for that. Thank
No, thank you, Terry. The freedom movement lives through you. I hear it, I see it, I feel it. Let's all keep up the good work. Tomorrow we'll be having our 32nd annual Juneteenth Parade and street festivities. The parade will start on 116th Street and Malcolm X Boulevard at 11 a.m. sharp. We will proceed west on 116th Street to St. Nicholas Avenue. Then we will proceed going north on 116th Street to 125th Street. We will turn east on 125th Street to Malcolm X Boulevard, and then we will come back up north to pardon me. Then we will come back south
Right,
to
absolutely.
116th Street. Yeah, we'll come back south to 116th Street for our annual street festival. It will be in that block. The whole block will have tremendous activities from one end of the block to the other. Like I said, we have 3 stages, performances. So any genre that you like, that venue will be available for you. So we hope that you come, rain or shine. We get a little shower, just bring the umbrella.
Okay,
The
okay,
main,
and I know there's floats and marchers and,
absolutely, and the
you know,
main tent hold about 200 people. So you won't. We promise you, you won't get wet,
okay,
no matter how hard it rains. So
okay,
we're gonna the freedom movement lives, and you're gonna feel that spirit when you come out tomorrow, God willing.
okay. Well, thank you for that. And how can folks get in touch with you? How can folks support you? Because it is about us supporting us. We can do
Thank you so much, Terry, for that. That's why you're so good at what you do. We have a website, Juneteenth Celebration NYC.org. Juneteenth Celebration NYC.org. Our email address, Juneteenth Celebration NYC@gmail.com. Juneteenth Celebration NYC@gmail.com. And you can always call us at 212-662-2200. 212-662-2200. And that's Masjid Malcolm Savannah's Juneteenth Committee. Thank you so much, Terry.
All right. Well, thank you. And this is Harlem Network News. I'm Terri Wisdom. You can reach us directly at 646-261-5397, Harlem Network News at gmail.com. Our YouTube channel, we put everything up on our YouTube channel. It stays up. We've got right now a body of work. We do have, and I'm going to re-edit it a bit and just push it out there. We have an amazing interview with our new ancestor, Congressman Rangel, that we did in 2023. It's an hour long. You know, we also awarded him at our gala in the same year, and he received it virtually. So we have a lot, and we continue, and we matter. Congressman Rangel, we know you are watching over us. We know that we've been given our marching orders to continue the work, and that's what we will do. So this is Harlem Network News. We need your support. We need you to subscribe, do some of the things that even if you don't have money to donate, if you continue to share your stories with us and we can put it out there, because that's what we're about. And I love us. There's a lot of love in the village of Harlem. And I say Harlem and Harlems of the world. And we know what that is, but it is a village, and there's no stopping us now. I would definitely say that. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And we will see you tomorrow. And we always go out, we cover the parade. It's inspiring, and also blessings, and a happy Father's Day to all. And I do want to share that our fathers are on the scene. They want to say that our fathers are not there, but I do some work in the schools, and I see fathers bringing their children. I see fathers picking up their children. I see fathers connected. So don't believe the hype. And our families units are critical. It is critical. I heard someone saying, in terms of just purchasing a home or doing things, by the destruction of our families, that is what is the greatest destruction that can happen. So we need to understand that. We need to understand that. So without further ado, happy Juneteenth. This is Home Network News. Thank you, Brother Ade, for doing all you do. And Aluta continue while the struggle continues. And prayers and blessings. We're going to dispel all of what's going on in the LA, in a Gaza, in that Middle East situation. You got to stand up. You got to stand up. You got to raise our voices. And gotta combat the wrongs in such a time as this. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you so much.
See you
God
tomorrow.
bless you.
Okay, all
Bye.
right, my dear.
Bye,
Take
bye,
care.
bye.
Thank you. Or whatever, back with never, and that's it.